Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Real Realtor of Houston, where I'm Kendall Peacock Butler. And I'm exceptionally excited about this one because, all right, we just celebrated one anniversary back a couple of episodes ago. We had The Real Realtor of Houston's anniversary, but we have my actual 5-year anniversary as a licensed real estate agent, ever having a real estate license. So I'm so excited to share what this journey has looked like and a lot of things that I've learned and kind of been able to take away from it. So if you have been thinking about getting into real estate in any capacity and becoming a real estate agent has kind of been on your list of potential career paths that you might want to pursue, then stay tuned, because I'm not going to give you the pretty little HGTV version of it, of what everybody thinks. I'm actually going to give you some I try to keep my channel clean because I want for it to be family friendly, but listen, it's a mess that we go through in this real estate world. So if you've been thinking about getting into real estate, go ahead and stay tuned, because I'm about to share some tips, what I wish I had known before getting into it, and then some things that I've learned along the way that have helped me as I evolve my business, as my business has grown, and not one but two different, completely different metropolitans. I started in Virginia in the Hampton Roads area, and now I'm in Houston, in the big Houston metropolitan area, which is, oh my gosh, completely different world from what it was in Virginia. So I decided to set out on my journey to get my real estate license in 2019. I went to school in, I think March 3rd or March 4th actually was my first day of class for real estate school. I went to Alpha College of Real Estate in Chesapeake, Virginia, because I had moved back to Virginia at that point. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, and a few bottles of wine and beer on the wall for that story to give you the complete history. But if you want a couple of little glimpses, you can check out my very first episode that aired, my very first episode. So scroll all the way down and you can get a little bit more of a story there. But anyway, back to the anniversary. So decided that I was gonna go ahead and get into real estate school. Took 3 weeks to get through the program, as long as you passed it, which I did pass one test on the first try, but I missed something on the other one, so I had to come back and take the second one, and then I did pass it. So officially got my real estate license like April 5th of 2019, and I was like, I'm about to be a gagillionaire in real estate. I'm about to take over the world. Like, I'm the only realtor that you ever need to know, and just set out doing everything. So I think back to some of the stuff that I did trying to just get real estate, or not get real estate, but some of the things that I, would try just to get clients, to get leads, just let the phone ring. So one of the first business or lead generation, there we go. One of the first tools of lead generation that I did, the brokerage that I had signed on with, was giving, the free business cards. They give you the door hangers. They, give you all this stuff to be able to market yourself. So Jaden and I walked around our neighborhood just hanging the hey, I'm a realtor in your area. Are you thinking about selling your home? Or are you perhaps wanting to buy one? Because the neighborhood that we lived in, it was a kind of like a split between buyers and then people who previously owned, they're now renting out their property. And so I remember the very first phone call that I got off of him. It was 7:30 in the morning. We jumped up out of bed because Jaden was sleeping in the bed with me. And she was right there. My baby has been right there with me. And so anyway, we were actually getting up so that way she could get ready for school. And so how I knew that it was like a business lead, it was just an area code and a number. And when I picked it up, no, it was just a regular number, no name attached to it. But when I answered it, I had Google Voice. And when you answer it, it kind of sounded different or weird. And I was like, I'm over here freaking out, but the person couldn't hear me, obviously. And so she's excited, just sitting there. And at this time, she had just turned 8 years old, 8 or 9. And so she's excited right there with me. So that was my very first call, and so many things that I learned about that lead. So I didn't have access into the lockbox yet. I couldn't get into the lockboxes yet. So I was over here like, yo, you know, friends I had already made in the brokerage that I was at. I was like, hey, can you come and, you know, open the door for me or whatever. So Cliff Pickens, I really shout out Cliff Pickens. He was so much help for me when I got started in real estate. So he came and opened the door for me so I could show this lead to my client. It was a $30,000 condo in Portsmouth, Virginia that, yeah, we ended up not going through with any of them because everything just took a different route. But that was my very first phone call that I got off of real estate. I remember it to this day. I can see that lady's face in my mind, and all I can just think about is so much pride in that moment that my baby was right there to be able to witness this in the moment. And because she had already seen and been a part of that whole transition of me getting out of the military, and then, oh, we're gonna move to Houston. Nope, we're gonna move back to Virginia because I'm gonna go ahead and pursue a career in real estate and I can promote to a lot of people there. And her hanging the door knockers with me and then being there when I get the very first phone call, I felt so much pride as a mother that I was able to show my baby what you are able to do if you just put your mind to it, if you put some effort into it. So got the first phone call, and then no lead came. So it was 9 months later before the actual closing had came. I got that closing by buying leads, by these services, because everybody's a vulture when you get your real estate license. And everybody's like, hey, you'll get 20 pre-qualified leads, you know, and if they don't work, go ahead and, you know, toss them back to us and we'll refresh them and we'll give you, you know, ones to replace those. Okay, that sounds amazing. Like, how do I do it? You know, they're already pre-qualified. Like, you, all these things. Yeah. You're going to get it. Yeah, we're going to send it to you. $400 a month, I think it was gonna be for this service. So I'm over here cold calling, which is one thing. When I tell you I cannot stand cold calling, I did cold calling twice. I've done cold calling twice in 5 years of my profession, of my career in real estate. And one of them actually resulted in me getting a lead, which was with this program that I did have to pay. I think it was somewhere between $200 and $400 a month, because when you're new, you're thinking you need to throw your money at everything, and you really don't. You really don't. You just have to give it time. It's like a plant. You have to you plant the seed, you water it, and then you wait for it to grow, right? So, called the lady. I don't even know how many phone calls I made. I think I may have went through 50 phone calls, and I had to toss back way too many for my liking. And I decided this probably isn't gonna work for me, especially with how much money that I'm having to spend. And I'm a brand new agent at that point. So that made it even harder because I don't have the money to spend every month on something that isn't yielding any results. And if it does, it's gonna take me months to get the money back. So looking back on it, would I have done it again? Absolutely not. And I advise people not to do that. Did it get me a lead? It did. But the reason why I suggest against it is because you don't have to pay for anything per se to get business. You have to let people know what you're doing. You have to let people know, I'm selling homes. Hey, you know somebody who's looking for a house? Hey, that's a really nice car. I know a great garage that you can park it inside of. I'm a realtor. You know, find ways to work it into the conversation. Everybody wants to talk about real estate. Everybody knows somebody that's a realtor. Everybody is somebody, or they know somebody who wants to go get their real estate license, or I'm thinking I want to go get my real estate license and all these things. And it's just like, okay, you want to get your real estate license. And when people call me and hit me up like, hey, Kendall, hey, how you doing? They were saying hi, waving to me as they saw me, you know, peacock roaming around the streets. When people contact me and they're saying that they want to get into real estate, the very first question that I ask them is, why do you want to get into real estate? And a lot of times they're like, man, they make a lot of money, and I like showing houses, or I like, you know, I like helping people and all this stuff. And it's just like, the very first answer out of your mouth was because you want to make money, or they make a lot of money. And I'm like, you already getting into it for the wrong reason, because the number one reason why you want to do something is going to be what comes out. Like, you might try to beat around the bush with it, but nope, because they make a lot of money. And while that is true, you have to spend so much money before you actually ever even make a paycheck in real estate. If you wanted to work leases, just to say that you are a licensed real estate agent is probably about a $2,000 investment. It just is. So you saying that you want to get into this profession, it's not you're going to just say I'm a realtor and then pop up and now I have paychecks flowing in. It doesn't work that way. My first commission check did not come until 9 months after I had gotten my real estate license. And even when that real estate check came, I still had so many expenses that I had that check really just evaporated as soon as I got it. I didn't get to enjoy my first 3 checks in real estate, because there was so many other things I had to take care of, so many things that I was getting into place. And I'm not saying that all that money was spent on real estate per se, but getting yourself to a certain level of where you feel comfortable with how you're marketing yourself. What are you putting out in front of people? Yeah, you have business cards, but are there other things that you might want to do? Do you want to host any kind of presentations or seminars? Do you want to take little goodie bags around to people? Hey, I'm a realtor. How are you putting yourself out there? If at any point you're going to have to utilize a phone, a car, some clothes, food, if at any point any of those things are falling onto your list, if you are a 100% employed entrepreneur, where's that money coming from? You're waiting for that commission check to show up, and then sometimes you're gonna have to tell people they're gonna have to wait on their money. I don't know how many times Joe and Jason had to wait on a paycheck because I'm waiting on a commission check to hit. But thank you so much for making me look good every single time. And that's why it's also important to know who you're in relationship with. So I did my whole little bunny route, bunny hop, scenic trail. But the number one thing is, know why you're getting into this profession. And if the biggest reason why you want to get in is because you want to make money and you like showing houses, both of those things are going to kind of fall to the bottom, because you, number one, have to have some sort of customer service that is going to get people to come back or get people to want to send somebody in your direction. Think about any services that you've gotten from anything. They could be going to the gas station. It could be going to the department store to pick out clothes, especially if it's a small business. What does their customer service look like? I know me personally, I have put things back on the counter in the person's face and said, no, thank you. I don't even like the way that I was treated in here. I don't like that my money seems to not be any good for you, because if it were, we would not be having this conversation right now. So customer service. If you know that you like for someone to call you back when you have a question, or if you know that, hey, I sent them a text message, would you want to wait 2 and 3 days to hear something back from them? So think about how you would want to be treated. What types of acts of customer service would you appreciate someone giving to you? Whatever the service is, whatever it is, that's what you need to be delivering in your business. That is the very first thing that you should know. You are in a customer service oriented profession, and no matter how good you are, if people don't like you, they're not going to want to work with you. It's a congeniality contest of where when people close on their homes, think about anybody, even yourself. If you purchased a home, I'll stick with that lane, and you're like, oh, so-and-so she was my realtor, he was my realtor, and he did this, and you can go on and on about how wonderful this person was. Was it the things that they did, or was it how they made you feel in that process of why you're like, oh my God, you have to call them? I don't know that I've gotten excited about wanting to call somebody because of the things that I got from them. It was because I felt good with them. So if you're thinking about getting into this career path as a realtor specifically, I'm not going to talk, this is not lenders, home inspectors, this is none of those other real estate related professions, but specifically as a realtor, customer service, patience, because you can convey to someone all day long, hey, after about 6 o'clock, I'm with my family. My business doesn't start until this time. People can understand that that's what you say, but you have to be the one to put those things in place, but you can't do it in such a way that it comes across as rude. I personally have learned I cannot respond to anybody before 9 o'clock in the morning, because I haven't really, and this is because I've set my hours. I've learned what hours work for me. I've learned what I naturally like, what works to where I'm still productive. So being able to know your boundaries and setting those boundaries ahead of time to know that, okay, they already said that they're going to be with their family at this time, but hey, I can still send them things. They'll just get back to me tomorrow. Cool. Nobody's upset, and everybody understood what was going to happen. And you're not upset because why are they reaching out to me past a certain time? It's like, but they're buying a house. So your job is to help them. If they send you something, oh my God, we found the perfect thing we love. Are they having to wait 2 days to hear something from you to respond to this house that they fell in love with? And now you potentially just lost a client or a potential client if they haven't actually signed paperwork with you that says, hey, you're my realtor, especially if they haven't signed any paperwork with you saying that, hey, you're my realtor. Because if they don't like you, guess what? They can very easily get up and go talk to somebody else that's a realtor on a sign that they saw while they was driving past, and now they got your client or they got your lead. So when you're thinking about getting into this profession, think about your customer service, treat others how you would like to be treated, and understand that clear boundary setting is very important. In that first, I'm gonna say definitely in that first 2 years, because it's gonna fly by just like that. You're not even gonna realize it. You're gonna be working so hard, just hustling, grinding, getting yourself out there. Don't think that you have to do any particular thing, don't think that, oh, I have to just do open houses, or, so-and-so said they did open houses, so that's what I'm gonna do. Look at your circle, look at everybody around you is an opportunity to get your name out there. So don't be afraid to tell your church, your job, your kids' school, the daycare. Don't be afraid to tell anybody, I'm a realtor, I sell houses. Who do you know? Hey, let me do this seminar. Let me do this home buying seminar. Let me do this free home selling seminar. Think about the information that you wish you had and put that out to others so that you're able to be a good resource. But that is some of the things that I've found out after I got into this profession, that it is so little about showing homes. That part actually gets kind of boring after a while. You do get some that really be like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. But a lot of times it becomes very monotonous, and that takes the fun out of it. So as long as you understand that you are in a relationship person-based business, which is highly driven off of emotion, and a lot of times people in the moment do things or make decisions that they were like, oh my God, I've had people to get themselves under contract without me being there when it came to new construction, because they had the new home sales agents in there. So they're all like, hey, and I'm like, I don't know what they told you because I wasn't there. You just went, you didn't have a conversation with me, and now I don't know what you just locked yourself into. Luckily, they didn't get locked into anything bad, but people make decisions in the moment, and I have had people that have made decisions that they're like, I'm not ready for this. Like, how do I get out of it? And I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna get out of it at this point, but had we done it, I just said this, I don't know, 2 days ago, I could have helped us get out without you, having to be charged anything. So just really realize and understand how much your job relies on how you treat people as a realtor, as a real estate agent. But over the 5 years, it has been the most fun, rewarding, oh my God, real estate is so much fun. I don't even know how else to put it into words. And then I have words to put with it. So I guess I figured it out in the moment, how to put it together. But it is just, there's so many different avenues with it, and I like learning. I love learning information. I like just knowing things. So understanding how you're able to use this as an investment tool, how you're able to have this piece of property that is now able to be like a silent savings account. Like, what? All I gotta do is buy property. When people move out to Houston, they're like, oh, I think I want to rent an apartment until I figure out where I want to be. Why? When you seriously can get into new construction, especially if you don't have to make a down payment, it doesn't have to necessarily be a VA home loan for you not to make a down payment on a home. But that is a topic that if that tickles your fancy or perks your ears up, we can have a conversation around it. And it's a lot of opportunities for it out here in Houston. So if you know that you're going to have to pay for a place to live at, why not buy a new construction? Because they're pretty much throwing money at you. They're buying down your interest rate. At this point, this is what a lot of things I'm seeing right now. They're buying down your interest rate so that you can get into your home. They're making it affordable. So they've literally taken every barrier, and then it's under all the warranties. So while you're still figuring out where you want to be at, you now are saving money in this vehicle called my house, my townhouse, my condo, my place of residence that I'm going to be at, since I was going to get locked into a 1-year lease anyway in a place that I didn't know anything about. You're not making any money in that apartment. You're not making any money paying anybody any rent. So as I've gotten into this profession, I've become more knowledgeable on different ways to help people obtain home ownership. It's exciting to show people. And then when they come back 2 and 3 years later, man, I got this money in my house. Like, like my house is worth this. This is how much this house is selling for. And I'm like, I know. That means you have equity, which means you have access to that cash potentially. You got to talk to your bank to see what that looks like. But let's say that you need to do a home renovation, or there's a project you want to do, or hey, we need to take care of something. Pull that money out wisely. Don't do it just because it's there, but you actually have access to that cash. Don't go refinancing it, because that does not help. It helps you if what you're looking for is lowering your interest rate. It does help you for looking at lowering your interest rate, because that's what the market says you are able to have access to now. But refinancing it is now sucking up whatever equity you had to bring it back on up to help them lower it. Whereas if you do a HELOC, which there is an episode coming about the HELOC, or the difference between refinancing and HELOC. HELOC is a home equity line of credit. So you're creating basically like a credit card in your house. But spend wisely. You're not just borrowing money against your home without a plan of how to pay it back. You can use that money to invest into other things, like other real estate, creating another stream of income for yourself. It's so many ways that you can do it. So in my 5 years of being in it and actually learning what it takes to be a pretty good realtor, pretty good representative of home buyers and home sellers, it's just very fulfilling to be able to show people this is how you can obtain ownership. So in 5 years of business in this amazing industry, being able to have helped countless families. I'm not just talking about the people that I was able to get to the closing table, my real estate professionals, referral partners, not talking about those people that were able to get someone to the table, or into a rental property, because I have helped individuals and families with rentals as well. But just the conversations that I've been able to have with people along the way in the world of real estate, just surrounding that whole topic, because being able to have education on it really helps with you having awareness. Like if you've had an educated conversation, not just topics that people have come up with, or they've decided this is the truth that they have with it. When even in the profession, went to a team meeting and I made a comment about something that I wasn't even knowledgeable on. So I kind of felt silly in the moment. Not that anybody made me feel that way, but I, in that moment, were like, I had to correct myself, because now I'm walking about just like all of the other people in the world who are like, oh no, you can't do that because this, and this. It's like, well, where are you getting your facts from? So being able to educate people about their options, about what this means. Hey, this is what you can do. No, not necessarily that, but this is what you can do. Being able to show them options. I'm a solutions-focused individual. I handle my business. I handle my life in that way. Like, okay, before, and I hope that I'm not like reverse, like causing things to pop up, and I don't know if this is the military making me think this way. I don't know if this was being told when you turn 18, you got to go somewhere. But I'm always thinking about, okay, if this isn't going to work, what will work? And sometimes asking the questions that you don't even know what you're asking. And I have that a lot of times where I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is coming out the right way, and I'll ask it. I'm like, does that make sense? And they'll be like, yeah. So they'll end up explaining it to me, or we work through it. But that's how I'm able to get more and more information and resources. So that has been the number one greatest takeaway, or the biggest thing, for lack of better words, that has brought me so much joy in this industry. And it's one of the biggest things that I have learned that people need. Just because somebody says that they've gotten their real estate license does not necessarily mean that they know what they're talking about. So fact check. Don't just go with the first person that you're given just because, oh, my cousin said that they blah, 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 or this person, did blah, blah, blah. Like, ask questions to different people, check your resources, and then make a decision. Because at the end of the day, that person that you choose to represent you in buying or selling your home is going to be the biggest resource in helping you maximize off of that investment, whether that is how much money can you keep in your pocket with all of your options, how much money are you gonna have to do for whatever, or how are we marketing? Like, it's so many things that go into it. But who are they paired up with to make sure that when there are inspections, or what mortgage partners are they working with? Just because they're saying they're going to give you these things, what does that mean? So don't be afraid to ask questions. Second thing that I've learned is on the real estate side, the realtor side, the real estate professional to professional, those relationships sometimes are gold. A lot of times those are golden. So being on the opposite end of a transaction, you don't know who the other agent is, but going in there trying to be like, oh, my client wants, and all this stuff, it's like, would you want to work with somebody who was being a prick? Would you want to work with somebody who was over here like, oh, well, my client insists that whatever my client said? No, like, it makes it a very harsh environment. Even if it's just through emails or phone calls, it makes it not fun to work with them. And I love it at the end of the transaction. I actually got my very first transaction coordinator through the agent that was on the other side. I had the listing. This is in Norfolk, Virginia. I had the listing, and the listing agent brought us an offer. We accepted, got it to the closing table. And he was like, this was a great transaction. Let's do more business together. And I was like, awesome, thank you. I was like, your transaction coordinator, also, she did an amazing job. He's like, oh, well, actually, she's my wife and all the things. And she was such a blessing to my career, really helping me to get to kind of put more boundaries around my business, or around me as a person, to kind of separate me from the business a little bit. So maintaining or creating a work environment, not just for your clients that you're working with, but just overall, even with those professionals, because you never know who might not be looking to go to a brokerage one day. And hey, I really enjoyed working with Kendall. I think she was at Caldwell Banker, or I think she was with Keller Williams, or I think she was with whoever you thought I was with. Just give me a call and we can go ahead and go have a conversation, because you might be the key to them getting to that next level in their career. But they would never know that if you were being mean and you weren't being responsive and you weren't doing or providing good customer service. So customer service is very, very key. Doing unto others as you would have done unto you. Calling people back in a reasonable amount of time. They actually made it a law that you have 48 hours to reach back out to somebody. You have to respond to them, or else you can actually complain that they did not respond to you, and they can get in trouble and get fined in the state of Texas. So seeing that, providing good customer service, that also helps you to build those relationships with those other partners, even in the new construction communities, because they like working with you. And then the third thing that I have learned in 5 years is that it is so important to take time away. It is so important to unplug it, to be able to sit down and kind of regroup, gather your thoughts. You're in your own race. You don't owe anybody anything. Not even yourself, honestly. These goals that you create, they're your goals. People can tell you, oh, you should start a team. You should do all these things. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's what I want to do. But if it's not, like, if it doesn't feel completely right for you, listen to that. Listen to your gut. Listen to your instincts. Don't move at the pace of what other people tell you is good for you, because yes, they want to help and they are, we see all this greatness, but listen to yourself. Run your own race and know what it is that you want. Because if you come into this industry and you're like, I want to sell houses. I just want to sell houses. And it's like, okay, all right. It's a lot that goes into that. So, figure out who you want to work with, because once you figure that out, it's going to make it so much easier when you can be like, you know what? I don't know that we might be a good match, but I have someone that's going to work. And you can put that in your own creative way of not making someone feel like you don't want to work with them. But if you know that like it might be a clash just because like it could be the energy is off, that is a big deal. Like if your energy is weird, you're going to come across in a different way. So biggest takeaways is great customer service, learning what it is that you want from this profession. This is entrepreneurship, period. You know, do you want to be this big time on the billboards everywhere, real estate agent, broker extraordinaire? Are you cool with working the business as it comes along? Do you want to be the go-to person on the kids' sports teams? Like, you know, just pick what it is you want to do and pursue it with the gusto. Like, don't let can't nobody take my pride. Can't nobody hold me down. That's what you gotta be. You can't let nobody hold you down. Whatever it is that you want to do going forward in any endeavors, like do it and do it with all the happiness and excitement, because then those opportunities will find their way to you. And all you did was just put your heart into it. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the just endless amount of love that y'all pour out to me on a regular basis. Thank you for being there. 5 years in the real estate industry, and I am so excited. I have wanted to quit multiple times. I think I wanted to quit like 2 weeks ago. No, not really. I did earlier this year. Because I did have some people that happened back to back, and it taught me I need to reinstate and reinforce those boundaries, because it was because I didn't put clear boundaries in place that made me get overwhelmed. So know what your boundaries are so that you can always present the best version of yourself. If you know that you're not the best person to talk to prior to 9 o'clock in the morning, don't talk to nobody before 9 o'clock in the morning. Don't even send an email before 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm so thankful to have been on this journey with you. I'm thankful for the people who are coming on, hopping on board the Peacock Express, because we about to take off. We about to take flight. And y'all can say, I was there when I knew her before she was on TV. Like I knew her when she was just on YouTube. Like y'all are going to be able to say that. And I'm so happy that I'm going to be able to share like all of these wonderful moments and journeys and updates with you. So thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I can't wait to see you next time. And oh, by the way, if you need some sweet tea to quench the thirst of any event that you have going on, P Sweet Teas for all of your beverage sweet tea needs in multiple flavors. So reach out if you have any questions about any gourmet sweet tea orders that you may be wanting to place. Kendall Peacock Butler, the Real Realtor of Houston, out. I don't know. I think I just get bit by the air when I go outside sometimes, but